Hey there, old dudes. Taking a quick look at the guitar here. Remember in the last video when I was doing the LSV? I said I really like seeing LSV out of Guatemala, Madagascar, hot rosewood. Well, guess what? There is such a thing, and it's called the CS Bluegrass 16. And this is what right here. I gotta get out here. Here it is. It's got a large sound hole. Seems to be a large sound hole. And it has the 1 3/4 inch V-neck and Guatemalan rosewood. So this is going to be an interesting guitar. Let's make sure that's a large sound hole. It looks large, but it doesn't look really super large, you know. Bet it's a 4 1/4. Let's see if I can get a yardstick. It's got wands on it. We'll find out. Yeah, 4 1/4. Actually, it's a little bit bigger than that. Large sound hole. No kidding. Okay, but this one, gosh, I know you're getting tired of me saying this, but guess what this guitar needs? A neck reset. This is the worst one that we've had recently. I'm going to move the camera over here. We're going to take a look at this thing. Let's see if I can get it on here. And we're going to get our camera down here. I mean, look at that saddle. The low E is actually not even touching the saddle. Look at that. I guess it's touching, but it is barely touching. That saddle is nothing. And you can really see the difference here between this bridge is non-slotted. So these pins are going clear back up here, so they're going all this distance here before they break down to there. You need to slot and ramp that for sure, but this saddle is nothing. I mean, I'm really trying to get down here where you can really see this. Sorry about this, we're going to have to go a little bit more of an angle. I can't quite get it, but anyway. Thing is just not, I mean, it's barely touching the saddle. There's no bite angle whatsoever on that. Same thing over in the treble E. Look at that. All these strings are just slipping around on top of that saddle. I can pull that D right off of it. So, I mean, there's just no way around this one. This one's going to have an neck reset, but look at that top, man. That is a nice top. That is so yellow. Really looking forward to this one. So, I don't really know anything about these. Customer just sent it to me after hearing that I wanted to check out an LSV made out of fancy rosewood. And here we are. So let's take a look at it real quick. I'm going to run my mirror up in here. There's the X. It's an inch from the sound hole. But since the sound hole is cut back, it's a little tricky to tell whether that's forward shifted or not. But it is forward shifted because that's less than an inch from it. And I can tell by the distance from the bridge on that. So we have forward shifted bracing. And what kind are we going to have? HD? Are we going to have the HD bracing, or are we going to have vintage style bracing when we get into there? Let's find out. I can't quite get this camera far enough back, you know. So that's why I have to keep it in the angle here. So, and we have GE style bracing. So that's the difference between this and the LSV. The LSV had the HD28, where the X scalloping starts about that far away from the X. Yeah, the scalloping starts about that far away from the X. So it goes straight, and then it starts to scallop. And so one of the things I do in that is to make it like this one, which is more of a GE, an authentic style bracing. And as soon as I find my light, I've got 3 lights on this bench. Here's one. Yeah, that's GE. Authentic. That looks nice. This guitar's got a pickup in it. It's got an undersaddle pickup in it, so that's got to go. We can't have an undersaddle pickup. Popsicle brush. Adjustable truss rod. My understanding is this is made of hide glue, though. So this is a I'm interested in hearing this guitar. It's got a strange combination of features. If it's made of hide glue, it still has the tall back braces here. All four braces are tall, and authentically, the rear two back braces should be short. So I'm sure one of the things we're going to do is lower the back braces, take the popsicle brace out, slot the bridge, ramp the bridge, give it non-slotted pins. It's going to have a neck reset. It's going to have a Taylor Mullins halter pick guard, because frankly that looks awful. I mean, on a pretty guitar like this, with this gorgeous yellow top and black ebony, this pick guard is just so out of place, in my humble opinion. I know they're trying to make it look like Tony's guitar and everything, but I don't even like Tony's pick guard. I like the Rattlesnake album, the Green album, Tony Rice. I like that dark pick guard, and that's on the David Grisman Quintet album too, where while the instruments are laying on each other, Tony's got the dark pick guard on there. And I like the dark pick guard so much better than I do the tortoise thing. And this is just an awful looking pick guard. I mean, I can't even say what I think about this pick guard. I won't get this on video, but I don't mind the bold, but I want bold in there. This is way too open. It looks nothing. There's not a tortoise shell in the world that looks like that. And I'm fully on board with replacing that with a nice dark halter that'll go good with the ebony fingerboard and everything. So, just to show you that this thing's got to have a neck reset. The relief, super flat. Man, it looks like even 0.02 of an inch. I mean, it is super flat. It can't get any flatter than that. So you're not going to help the action out by the relief at all. Here's 76 thousandths of an inch. I don't know, we might be able to. That low E is about 68 thousandths of an inch. I don't know. Let's get more accurate measurement. Maybe it doesn't need neck reset. It's going to have a new saddle for sure, because there's nothing on that saddle. Let's see what we can get by with. There's 68 thousandths. No, it's taller than that. Quite a bit taller than that. I bet it's going to be 76. Didn't make it, did it? 76 thousandths. Okay. 76 makes it if I smash it down really, really hard. So 75 thousandths of an inch. I would like for it to be 95 thousandths of an inch. So that's 20 thousandths of an inch difference. 40 thousandths more on the saddle. $56 thousandths of an inch, 40 would be 95. Nah, that's not gonna do it. Time I adjust that up, the saddle's gonna be about 95 thousandths of an inch, and that's just not good enough. That needs to be, that's a short saddle. Yeah, that needs to be 135. You know, to get a good bite angle on it. So I get 95 thousandths and 135 thousandths. It would be 95 if I raise it. I want it to be 135. That's 40 thousandths of an inch on the saddle. Divided by 3, 12. Yeah, another one that's just marginal neck reset. 13 thousandths would be it. So I'm going to take 13 thousandths off the heel, which is, man, it's just, again, it's so close, but just not there. And, you know, a guitar like this should be there. So this has got to be done. Let's see what the back of it looks like. Make sure it's not dry. I don't think it's dry or over humidified or anything like that. If it's dry, it's going to be even worse. No, that looks really good. But what I'm doing here, let me get you back in the camera here. I'm checking for dryness here. I'm taking a straight edge. I'd rather this was wooden. I need to go get me a wooden measure and stick so it doesn't scratch the top. But I'm be careful here. Lay it over the top and the edges here. Got to get the balance. Look at the edges here, and they should clear the top by, oh, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, you know. And they're clearing really good here. So top's not dry, it's not sunken in. Top's really good. God, that's a really beautiful top. That is such a nice color of yellow. If I didn't know it was Adirondack, I would suspect Engelmann again, because Engelmann's got a yellower color to it then. But I know that's Adirondack. That's red spruce. You can tell by the streaks in it and by the grain is really wide. The points here. Let's see if we get this in there. Got too much light, too much glare going on there. Really get it on the camera. What I'm looking at, or what I'm seeing on here, though, first of all, there's a lot of grain lines that come in like this. The grain lines don't run straight down like this, they come in. That's characteristic of modern red spruce. It's got streaks in it, and then it's got lots of spaces where there's really tight grain and then really wide grain all of a sudden. Red spruce tends to do that, have a lot of variability in the grain in the top. So like I'm looking at big wide grains over here, and then right over here on the edge, they're just in there shoved together. 5 times as many grains per inch. Lots of variability in the grain. So that's cool. So, I mean, it's not going to take much to get this guitar in shape. The modifications we would make are going to be the popsicle brace, the back braces, take care of the slotting of the bridge. I'm going to ask the owner if he would like for me to go ahead and cut that bridge into a long vintage saddle slot while we're at it. Not necessary, but it kind of brings the vintage vibe up on this guitar, make it a little bit more comparable to the LSV. The LSV has got a long saddle slot. I don't feel the length is that huge of a big of a deal, but it does, you know, it adds a little bit more. It puts that bone out on a wider, puts the bone out farther into the saddle here. I've got a video where I changed it from a short to a long, and I mean, you could hear the difference. People commented on it. So we might recut that into a long vintage saddle slot. There's no finish under the bridge on this, especially if it's with hot hide glue, because hide glue does not have any gap filling properties whatsoever. So that bridge has got to be stuck on the top. This pickup's got to go. It's an under saddle pickup, and we don't want an under saddle pickup on this guitar. Pretty sure owner's going to agree about that. So, I don't have an objection to pickups, but they need to be K&K pickups or LR bags, and they need to be on the bridge plate, not under saddle, because you're basically just putting a piece of aluminum foil in between the saddle and the bridge, and under saddle pickups are just quacky, and I hate them. There's just lots of better solutions here if you're going to have a pickup in it. You got the battery in there. You got the volume control. You got all that junk in there that, you know, just put a K&K in it and be done with it. It's my humble opinion, okay? So we're going to do that, do a couple things on that. But this neck is awesome. This neck is slimmer up in here. Slimmer right up here than an LSV. LSVs are pretty chunky up in here. This feels like a GE neck. Yeah, feels like a D18 GE neck. This is a tremendously nice neck. I cannot wait to get this guitar playing good. And I'll probably go ahead and do the neck reshape pretty quick, because none of the other modifications are going to affect the actual action. So in other words, if I was going to scallop the braces or anything like that, I would do that first and then do the neck reset, but in this case I'm not doing any of that. The bracing's great. Back braces are not going to affect the action at all. So I'm probably going to pop the neck off here pretty quick and you know, get to work on it. It's not going to take much, but it's just not enough there, you know. Let me check one more thing. I mean, you could get by with 95 thousandths of an inch on the saddle, but $335, that's perfect. Bridge isn't fat. If it was a fat bridge, I've seen some bridges that are up to almost 0.400 of an inch, and this one was 0.335, which is perfect for a vintage bridge. I've seen the ones that are 4. I would take them off and reshape them down to this height, but no, this one's perfect height. I wish they would have rounded the corners on the bridge a little bit, just to make it more vintage, but they didn't cut a long saddle in here, so they're not really going for the vintage look. But what I'm talking about is on the edge right here. These are square edged, which is a modern look. All the vintage guitars, 70s, have rounded off edges right here. It just looks a little softer look. I could put tape on here and, you know, go ahead and sand it down without removing the bridge. Might leave it alone. Let's see. Okay. Looking forward to this. Even I could see the E moving on the saddle. Huh. That's horrible. I might, just for fun, just for fun, I might go ahead and slot and ramp the bridge. Slot and ramp the bridge, and go ahead and put a different saddle in here that gets the action up to 95 thousandths of an inch. So that would be a 95 thousandths of an inch tall saddle, and at least we could play the guitar a little bit then, you know. I'll see what the action looks like, and I'll see what the saddle looks like, and that sort of thing. But you know, right now that saddle is ridiculously low. How big did I tell you it was? $56 thousandths, yeah. If you take the saddle out, the string will clear the top of the bridge by about 60 thousandths of an inch. And so that's exactly what I'm saying here. It's literally barely touching that saddle. It's kissing the top of that saddle. So 30 thousandths of an inch, you know. We'll see. I think I'll do that just for fun before I do the actual neck reset. Put a temporary saddle in it, slot the bridge, get the bridge set up, take the pickup out of it. Maybe I'll go ahead and do the back bracers and that sort of thing, and then we can hear what the guitar sounds like at least, and then I'll do the neck reset and get the saddle hyped up. And maybe I'll be surprised, and maybe it'll be enough, but I don't think it will be. We'll see. Okay, cool. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this. This guitar is heavy. Definitely heavier than authentic, but some of that might be the pickup. It's got a battery, it's got a volume control wheel, it's got, I'm sure it's got a preamp in it, because that's what the battery's for. That's just a lot of weight in there. I bet that's a pound of weight. So we'll see. Okay, so here we are, CS16. This is the first one I've seen. I'm going to compare it to the LSV once I get it playable. Now, you might think that every guitar I do has to have a neck reset. It doesn't. For instance, the LSV is actually the opposite. It has, if you remember, it has a very tall saddle and a very low action. So it does not need a neck reset. It actually, if it needed anything, it would need a reverse neck reset. But it's good. We're going to leave it alone. We're going to leave it with a low action. It's going to play great. When I did the Blazer and Hinks D18 a couple weeks ago, the guy that brought that guitar also had a Martin OM18 authentic, and it was perfect. In fact, somebody had lowered the saddle too much and made it like this. 70 thousandths of an inch on the, it was too low. So I took it out, turned it into a true vintage saddle, put the action up. The saddle was perfect, the action was perfect. That guitar did not need an Eccleshare. And it's odd, I think I see that more in the small-bodied Authentics. I don't remember seeing a small-bodied Authentic that I thought needed an Eccleshare. How's that? But all of the dreads, most of the dreads, anyways, are like, I wish they would have given 10 thousandths of an inch more off the heel. I mean, just a little bit more, and they would have dropped it into perfect for me. It would be not perfect for the guys that like their actions up high, So everybody's got their own preferences. I like easy playing guitars, but I do think that the small bodied Authentics that I've seen, I can't remember one that I've said, it needs an Eccleshare. So not all of them do, Once again, I'm a hospital, so I see sick guitars. but this one definitely does need. And I also seem to think maybe the ones coming out of the custom shop and out of the authentic shop. Trying to think, because it's been so long since I've seen a production guitar, the standard series, because I quit working on them pretty much. Yeah, I can't say that. I can't say that categorically, but alright, so I'm going to play with this a little bit. We'll come back to it. This is just the first look at it, and I just wanted to show you again, this is what we're looking at here. We've got no saddle on this thing. The action is pretty low, but the nut is not too bad. It's a little bit high. We're not going to get much help from the nut. We're going to get just a little bit of help from the nut. So let's see what we got. I'll get the nut correct. I'll do the bridge pins. I'll slot and ramp the bridge a little bit. Get the pickup out of it. And we will put a temporary saddle in it and see what we got. But so this is cool. I'm looking forward to it. So see you later.